Jeff, let's start with you. You can see you're in the hotel. What's the atmosphere like in Durham?
Yeah, I wish I could have done this in a tent, but I don't know if I could have pulled it off tonight in a tent. I think I probably would have had a few too many Trulies because I was only there for a little bit earlier today, and they were giving me Trulies, and they wanted me to come back. Maybe I'll go back after this. But listen, the atmosphere is good, not as good as it usually is because all the tents right around Cameron, they were all taken down yesterday. So now they've got some tents. The grad students still have tents around the concourse of the football stadium, but the undergrads, they're done. They're out in college game days setting up. So the one thing, it was 80 degrees today. I went to Coach K's news conference, which was kind of cool. I mean, again, for me, as a guy who's been doing this a long time, gone to a lot of Coach K press conferences, kind of thinking about it like this is the last one I'm ever going to see at Duke. And you could see he kind of got a little bit, not emotional, but just kind of thinking about it, that with all of us there and a bunch of national reporters there, that the end was near, right? I think it hit him today of like the end is near. 80 players coming in. They invited every single player that ever played for Coach K at Duke, 208 of them. And about 80 are going to be there. Grant Hill will be there. Leitner will be there. Remember too, there's a lot of players that are either playing in the NBA, playing overseas, coaching in the NBA, like Quinn Snyder, coaching college, like Bobby Hurley and Greg Paulus and Chris Collins and Jeff Capel. So you're not going to get anything close to 208. But it's going to be quite a show. I mean, it is. It's going to be goosebumps. I can't wait for kind of the lead up when I get in there before the game on Saturday, because to me, that's when you're going to just feel it. To me, Cameron and Fog Allen are the two best places, period, anyway. And then you add this, and you add Carolina Duke, K's last home game, K's last regular season game. It's going to be very cool. It's a bucket list deal.
I like how you said that Coach K didn't really feel how big this moment was until he realized this was going to be the last time that he saw you in a press conference 2 days before a game tips off. I like always making it about yourself.
I was a little worried he might come at me. We haven't talked all year, and in the last, listen, me breaking the story that he was retiring, I thought maybe he was pissed off at me for it, but he answered my questions well. I had I did a double barrel question for him, which I've always said is taboo. You never ask a double barrel question, a two-parter. Well, I did it today. And the first part was, what do you remember about your first game? Give me your emotions from your first game you ever coached at Cameron. And my second one was, because he had already talked about earlier how he hasn't been able to impact overall the change in college basketball that he would have liked. And I talked to him a few years ago about his relationship with Mark Emmert, the president, NCAA president. And I said, how many times have you talked to Mark Emmert in your entire life? And he said, not a whole lot lately. He's never called me to actually find out my thoughts on how to improve college basketball, which is a complete.
What does he want to do to improve it? Like, was this trying to get the NIL stuff done quicker? Was this
no? I think it was I think it was get somebody in there who knows what the hell they're doing, that has the power to impact change in college basketball. Listen to him and his thoughts and whatever that his opinions are, and act them. So that was that. And then he said, I don't remember a thing from my first game. He literally said, I don't remember a thing about it, period, which so I was hoping.
I have a question. I read a quote. I don't know if this was from the same presser. I'd assume it is, because I don't know how much of a media tour he's doing right now. But I read a quote that he essentially said that after this season, he doesn't plan to have much of any involvement with the Duke basketball program. Do you buy that?
I don't think he'll be like Jim Calhoun, that will be standing like Jim Calhoun when he retired was literally at mid-court for all the practices of like Kevin Ollie for a while. He's not going to be doing that, but yes, he'll have involvement. I mean, let's face it, like John Shire is going to be smart enough to continue to involve him because he's going to want to get recruits. And it'll help him, and you're going to want to use him as a sounding board and all that. I don't think he'll be there.
Here's the biggest thing. I think we can all agree, if he's not the greatest to ever do it, he's one of like the 2 or 3 best in the history of the program. Why would you not want that resource around if you're John Shire?
Yeah, I mean, he'll be involved. I think what he's saying is like, I'm not going to push myself on there. I'll be there if Shire calls me. I'm going to help with other things on campus, like maybe providing a facelift to, Cameron Indoor Stadium, things of that nature. But I think he's ready. I mean, Norlander asked him, how do you feel right now? Do you feel ready at this point? Because you made the decision before the year, but now you've coached all year. And he said, yeah, I'm 100% ready, but I got another month here, hopefully, to be able to maybe win another title.
Now, do you think it affects the recruiting, and in what way within the next, 2 to 3 years? That's what I was, worried about, if anything, with Shire being such a young coach.
I think it helps in a way. I mean, you're 33, right? Like, you can connect with kids in a way that a lot of these other dudes can't.
Yeah,
you're young. Sure. So, and he had K for this year to get momentum. And K didn't go out in the recruiting trail, but he was still involved. Let's be honest. These kids come to campus, he's still going to put them on the phone with K or whatnot. But he got momentum. And as long as they win next year, and that's kind of the key, right? Hubert Davis at Carolina didn't win at a high level this year. They're not going to have that momentum. They're going to get good players because you're Carolina anyway. But are you going to be able to pick your dudes? Because that's kind of what Shire did this year. He picked his dudes, and he went out and got Kyle Filipowski and like these dudes that were special at each position, maybe the guys that Duke handpicked. So I think they'll be fine. I do. I think they'll be fine.
So lost in all of the craziness here, there's still a game to be played as well, right? So Ashley, I want to ask you, as a guy who's been, at the highest level of college basketball in big games, can a moment like this, like, I don't know what the biggest game you've played in is, maybe you can tell us right here, but like, is there pressure on you as a player to go out in an environment like this? Like, is Paolo Banchero going to have a lot of weight on his shoulders for this game?
I don't think so. I think everything is kind of on Coach K in terms of just, with everybody being there and the atmosphere. But it is one of those moments where that's why these guys have came, that's why they've come to Duke in the scheme of things, like Banchero. I'm sure there were talks about it with Coach K leaving and, with him being, with his final season. So ultimately, that's why you end up going high major. That's why you want to play in the NBA, to play at the highest level, to play on the biggest stage. So if anything, it's going to give them, some extra oomph and that energy. But anytime you're playing against, playing in front of, I should say, the Grant Hills, the Christian Laettners, all of these legends that will be at the game, and then everybody that will be watching the game, you talk about a big time atmosphere and a big time opportunity for somebody to take advantage of. Not only Banchero, but some of these other guys that are just role guys or maybe even fringe NBA guys that end up playing really well, and you never know.
My worry would be the distraction of it all, the pomp and circumstance of it all. Like, this isn't about the game that's being played on the floor, right? This isn't about how does Duke keep Armando Bacot off the offensive glass, and what do you do if Caleb Love gets rolling, and whatever matchups you want to talk about, right? This is about Coach K, his last game, all the players in the stands, all the people that are in the building, the $17,000 you got to pay on Vivid Seats to go in there and get a ticket, right? It's about everything else. What do we got going on over here? Coach K.
Okay. I bought it for you, Rob. It's a Coach K bobblehead. For everybody listening on Sirius that can't see it, they need to watch, because right now Coach K is nodding his head in approval of what Rob Doster is saying. Coach K bobblehead. I
got a spot right there.
I'm not giving it to you. This is a collector's item. You're not getting this.
Right there. Yeah, that's exactly what I figured. But I think it's so much more about everything else that's going on outside of the game itself. I'd be a little bit worried if I was a Duke fan about winning this game. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Duke has already won the ACC regular season title, right? Like, how about that? How about that? When Notre Dame lost the other night, Duke clinched the ACC outright regular season title for the first time since 2006. So I wonder if this is going to be something where North Carolina can come out and kind of spoil the occasion. Honestly, I don't think I'd be that surprised if they were able to get it done.
What? Come on. They're not going to win, but Duke players could be tight in this one. That's all I'll say is if the game gets close, then I think they could tighten up a little bit because there is pressure. If there's one game you cannot lose as a player other than a national title game, Final Four type game, you cannot lose this game if you're Paolo Banchero, if you're Wendell Moore, if you're Trevor Keels, because you will forever be remembered as the guy that blew the biggest game maybe of Coach K's career, the last game at Cameron. Imagine what that locker room will be like if they lose. Seriously.
You'll never be invited back. They won't be coming to John Shire's last game. I'll tell you that much.
So how many points would you guys need? This is a question we were discussing with producer Dagan right before the show started.
42.
If the line opens up at North Carolina plus 42, Jeff Goodman's hammering that.
I'll take the points. I'll take the points at 42. 41, I'm not so sure.
Well, so I'm curious because Ken Palm's got this as a 12-point spread. I would think that Vegas will set the line high enough, knowing people want to bet Duke in this game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people wanting to put money on the Tar Heels. Could this really open up at 14, 15? And if it does, I don't know, I might be able to talk myself into that moment starting slow for Duke. And maybe there's a live line you can jump on.
Yeah, I don't think that I would want to be on the Duke side if this got to 14 and 15 for the line. I think that the North Carolina side is the one I would want to be on. It would take a lot for me to actually sit there and say and type into my Bet Rivers app, money spent on North Carolina at Duke, right? It would take a lot for me to make the decision to make that.
You just said that you thought they could win.
I would not be surprised if they. I think that the
flip flopper. You're a flip flopper.
I'm not flip flopping. What I'm saying, I'm talking. It's not flip flopping. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. You got to get it right. You got to get it right. Well, yeah, because no matter what, I'm going to be able to say that I was right. So if they win, then I can be like, I told
we'll be
you.
able to say you were wrong.
No one remembers. No one remembers the stuff you get wrong. All they remember is when you predict North Carolina going in to win at Cameron. But I didn't do that because I said I don't even know if I would take the spread. So you see what I'm doing there, Goodman?
No, I'm too tired of trying to translate what the hell you're talking about right now.
Just go play with your bobblehead. Okay.
Yeah, you got.
I do think it's a
Coach K doesn't even understand what you're doing.
Yeah, the one thing I think this game is missing from a just pure fan of college basketball standpoint is that I wish there was a bigger villain on the North Carolina side who could just make this all they care about is ruining this moment for Coach K and Duke.
Who would be that guy? Who's the Carolina, even the former? Give me one guy at Carolina.
Hansbrough.
Gotta be Hansbrough.
There's no one else that could be. It's got to be Hansbrough.
Yeah, without question.
Maybe he'll come. Maybe he'll come out of the stands. Maybe Tyler Hansbrough will just come out of the stands and clothesline somebody or something.
Honestly, Hubert should just put him on the bench for this game. Just get him a suit. Get him a suit. Yeah, I don't think.
Call him a super senior. Call him a super senior and throw him out there.
Just put him on the bench. Put him in warm-ups. I'm sure he looks pretty good in layup lines these days, right?
Yeah, I'm sure nobody would notice that there's actually a good player in the North Carolina. I don't know. I'm just saying. Jeff, thank you so much for dialing in here. We're going to head to break over on Sirius XM, Channel 84, ESPNU. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your Friday night in Durham. And enjoy the spectacle of Saturday, my friend.
Oh, I'm going to have a blast. And maybe I'll even make another appearance on tomorrow night's show, but I will not be nearly as sober as I am right now.